And as all of you know, you are the pioneers in AI exploration in Latin America, in Mexico. And you are part of the 30 and the 40% of the business leaders in the region that wants to use AI as a weapon or as a tool to help improve your business. The market size is incredible. Right now, we're looking about $6.6 billion in 2024, and we're looking to grow that market significantly in the future. By 2030, we wanted to grow 28% of artificial intelligence in the region. And Hugo mentioned about the population, 650 million people in Latin America. Just imagine the impact AI can bring and the opportunities it will bring for our companies and for our partners in this region. Okay. So my question to you, and I wanted to start with you, Jose, is what do you see at the current AI adaptability in Mexico and in Latin America?
Yes, of course. You comment the facts in Latin America, the possibility is very, very big. And I like very much that I can see new events, new meetings for Latin America. Last month, I stayed in an event, in a remote event with many countries of Latin America. This is very positive because we can change the opinions, we can change the experience, and it's not, the moment is Latin America, not only Mexico. Because the moment is Latin America because we can afford, we can express our experience. And I like very much Alibaba Cloud because Alibaba it's clear that it's a very good company, but the challenge in China is very big because it's more population. And we can copy this model, but not only for Mexico, only for all Latin America. Yep. For the population and for the territory. Remember, China is very big and Latin America is very big. And in the past, people think Argentina is very, very far from Mexico. I passed doing new business in USA. I think not. I think the opportunity is in the rest of the continent. Mm-hmm. And with this, we can copy the model from China because I think that the people here is very similar to the Latin Americans. I think it's more hospitality, more the Chinese people like to do business, like don't lose the opportunities. And in Latin America, I think it's similar. It's similar. We want to offer our products and our services in all countries, in more countries. And really, in our case, in Viko, receive many calls from other countries. Now, how can I do this? Or how can I do this implementation of different systems? It's the same. But I think that the time is for all Latin America.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think in this case, what is going to make a success for the adaptability is to make it more humanly like. What I mean with this is that we are already using artificial intelligence, but unconsciously, because it is already on every application that we use. The thing is that it's more like on the social networking and sometimes also on the e-commerce. Mm-hmm. But I think there is still a little bit of a gap that needs to be shrinked in order for everybody to use artificial intelligence. For example, I see it here. Everybody uses something that has to do with it, even though they don't know it. So that is the key to that success. I think the growth has to do more with how many people is creating artificial intelligence, and how those people who is creating that is creating it in such a way that it is very organic for human beings to use it, to use it like naturally.
Thank you.
Let me share an insight with you. I've been working with the artificial intelligence since 2016, okay? So I've seen all the phases right now that have been happening in Mexico. But the thing is that it's really different from what you see in China. Let me explain it. First, when I begin developing AI, I went to the companies, okay? I went to sell my services to a company. Then I see that the government wasn't investing. So the infrastructure, we need infrastructure that wasn't there, okay? So the company said, okay, I'm not gonna invest everything that you need to do AI because it's too expensive for just one company. So I went to the government, okay? And then I said, okay, the government, they really don't understand everything that's happening around AI, so I have to explain every little bit of what's the technology about, and I have to tell them what to do in some cases. And then I decided to go also to an organization, okay? So now I'm the president of an organization in Mexico of AI. So here you see people that are working in not only evangelizing companies, but also the government, but also universities. I think that's the moment right now of AI, actually.
I agree.
So we have to do everything from the beginning. But when everyone understands the impact and how their lives are going to change, it's gonna be faster, the adoption.
Yeah.
So we have to be there to do that.
Yes. Luis?
Okay, I see the AI market in two ways, the conscious and the unconscious, yes? Because as Javier was saying, unconscious, we are using the AI feeds for the last 8, maybe 10 years. For example, in cybersecurity, for the data analyzing when there is something affecting your network, for example, no, and also for data analytics in order to do prevention and do all the analysis of the data.
Right.
Okay. So, but right now there is a new trending in all the people in the social media using artificial intelligence. So this is another way, a new way to do business with the artificial intelligence. So I divide this into the end user and to the service providers, for example, no? Vendor service providers that provides cybersecurity technology or data analytics technology or something like that. So in Mexico, the market for the artificial technology is around $700 million.
Wow.
Yes? It's a huge market
That's
right
a
now.
huge market,
But
yeah.
if you combine this market with the data analytics and cybersecurity, the market could be around $2 billion or maybe $3 billion. So it's a very huge opportunity to develop this artificial intelligence in new technologies for the Latin American market. And as we told earlier, this will be provided for all Latin America and maybe for other countries such as the United States or Canada, no? From Mexico. So I think there is the adoption is going through right now. It's the moment to develop this kind of technology, and the challenge is where to start.
Where to start?
Yes.
Very well said. Victor?
I would like to complement just briefly. We haven't mentioned, but I have experience also on Brazil and Ecuador, Peru. So everybody in Latin America, not only Mexico, even though maybe they are not so big, well, Brazil is, but I mean the other countries, I think it's more or less the same. So if you have success in one of those countries, you surely are going to have success in others because we are like alike among us. So the adaptability also depends on how you introduce the solution. For example, nowadays, I've been implementing a lot of logistics. We use evolutionary computation. That is a technique that has its complexity, but the user doesn't need to understand. He only needs to make use of the solution. You need to solve the problem. So the adaptability has to do with how people get to connect the problem with one technique or solution, and how do you implement it in a successful way so that you can bring benefits to the users.
And do you agree, Luis Miguel, that if you right now have success in Mexico or in Brazil, every other country are going to follow this trend? Is that right?
Yes, totally. In fact, most of our clients, they try to explore the solution in one country so that they can scale it to another countries. For example, I have right now machine learning solution for suggested ordering that is used in order to forecast sales so that they can manage and arrange all the sales and operation planning for the creation of products and the delivery of them. So we start in Mexico with about 500,000 point of sales, and we are now implementing this on Ecuador, and the idea is to expand it. But it's like you said, first you need to experiment, but once you have the confidence that the solution works, it's mostly a natural thing that they're going to use it on all Latin America.
And again, Mexico and Brazil are the 60% of the Latin American market.
Yeah. Victor?
The artificial intelligence in Mexico need more faces, not the same faces.
Okay.
Need more faces to create, not only for question or I see the fighter in the TikTok or in another social media.
Yeah.
No, need to create, need and think. My perception is the training to the people for use these applications and use only for more interesting targets. For example, in the ISP, an internet service provider in Mexico, I can use this technology for find the customer for the maybe SDN.
Sure.
Maybe implement infrastructure as a services, software as a services, and in this market is very interesting because if you create the hungry for the final user, the final user need ideas for the pay. In Mexico, the government use the pay per use for month. This is the great opportunity for the artificial intelligence for pay per use and create for this application. Okay.
I think using the current infrastructure or the cloud services that we provide, we do support this type of pay-by-use type of scenarios. And to be very honest with you, that is absolutely something that I feel like that's the future. That said, though, I wanted to go back to both of what you said, is the permeation of the Latin America market. And as a matter of fact, one of you actually told me, Latin America doesn't speak Spanish. They speak Mexican. They speak Brazilian. They speak, different languages. How do you adjust adaptability by different local culture? Do you see that as easier to do, or every time you have to start from the scratch?
I think it's easy for us because we live over there, no?
Right.
So again, I think that Alibaba has to use our knowledge on our local markets in order to understand the needs, the compliance, and the way they need to provide this kind of technology to the citizens of these countries.
Okay.
Of each country.
Each country, yes,
Yes.
that's right, yeah. So like when you visit, say, a different country, say like Guatemala from Mexico, do they see you as a foreigner, or do they see you as a commodity of the same group, same culture?
We've been visiting Latin America and also Central America for the last 20 years as consultants, and also selling technology and giving speeches all over the place. And what I see is that if you have a Spanish presentation, okay, they're gonna connect with you.
Gotcha.
If you present it in English, sometimes, but if you present it in Chinese, it's going to be really difficult.
Yeah.
Because they want to see what they need to see.
Right.
They want to connect with the technology, and you're selling to people. So we as Latin Americans, we connect more with the other cultures, as we told you, even with Brazil, which is difficult, but not impossible, because here Luis Miguel is selling technology to them.
I have the opportunity to be the sales director for many vendors in Latin America for around 20 years. So the thing that Javier is saying, it's very true. In some cases, for example, in Brazil, you have to have the salespeople from Brazil, because if you don't do that, you will not have the opportunity to go through the market. No.
Yep.
Also in Mexico, and it's easier for a Mexican people to go into the other countries, such as the Central America, yes, to do business. They like the Mexican people, yes, but in countries like, for example, Argentina, Brazil, they have to have the local people, yes. So we said that they are local markets. Yes.
Okay.
I think for the case in a specific, being more technical about the large language model that you have, in order for it to be useful there, it needs to work in Spanish, because if not, people are not going to understand it. So I think that is the same way for every solution. Everything that we have seen here needs to have this Spanish component so that people can adopt it. Because nowadays, we have different languages through what people learn. For example, English, Portuguese, or Spanish.
Right.
But there needs to be language managed there, because if not, only people who has a special education in languages is going to have access to this. So if we want this to grow, really grow in Latin America, it needs to be in Spanish. I think that's important.
I think it just broadened the horizon for us, right? So the vision here is not just Mexico. The vision here is the entire Latin America. That's really important to us. Another aspect is localization. So when we say localization, it's not just localization to Mexico, but localization to every individual submarket that requires a lot of collaboration with our local teams and also our local partners to be successful there.
We geeks recognize every part that we are in the world.
Yeah.
And also business consultants.
Right.
That's why you have to work with companies and with geeks and business consultants in Mexico to develop, in Mexico or other country, any other country in Latin America, to develop the market. But when we were visiting one of the companies here of Alibaba, they were explaining us some features of the technology, of your BI technology, and some of the texts, they were in Chinese.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah,
we cannot understand, even we that we are so technical.
Right.
Sometimes you lose us.
Yeah.
Even we understand what you're talking to us. So that's why we have to make a very good soft landing into the culture of Latin America.
Thank you. That's a very precious comment. Thank you so much. That's something that we need to improve, and that aligns with our strategy here to localize to Latin America, and also we wanted to learn from you and borrow your experience so that we can be more proficient in this country, in this continent, really. So moving on a little bit, Javier, you mentioned about leapfrogging in terms of technology. But we think AI is here to stay, right, in Latin America. That is really important for us and for you. So this is a perfect time to start in building that AI foundation in Latin America, so we will be there to stay. It's probably for everyday people to be, passively using AI, adopting AI, and also for pioneers like yourself to develop new AI capabilities. But what are the biggest roadblocks? I think you kind of mentioned about government, but what are the other big blocks do you see for you and for Alibaba Cloud to be able to, realize this vision?
Well, I think that I experienced a few years ago that when you wanted to implement something for artificial intelligence, there was people who were skeptical. They didn't thought it was going to work. Now it's different because everybody's hearing about it and they want to use it. However, I think it depends on how do you manage to show the success of the solutions you are trying to implement. How do you show that the computers and the algorithms have accuracy? Because most of the incredibility that the people has to do with how can they rely on the results? How can I automate something that maybe I think the computer is not going to do in the right way, right? So I think it is something that we need to work on in order to show the capability of artificial intelligence, but also it has another phase because, for example, on healthcare, there is an extra risk of using artificial intelligence. For example, the users always prefer false positive than false negative,
false
right?
Negative. Yep, that's right.
So I think that's one of the things that people still is skeptical. They need to understand and rely on the solution. So there's a lot of work to do in that way.
And what about for big ERP systems? Do you see AI as something that you can coexist, or is that something that you will you feel like is more of a challenging your current business?
Yeah, I think that the people is ready to adopt the new technologies.
Sure.
AI, I think that is ready, but in some cases, the people say, and what can I do with this technology? I think that maybe if the partners, our job, our task for the market is create use cases and really examples to use this technology. For example, yesterday we can see the recognition of fake photos.
Yep.
And then we speak and say, how can I use this? And Victor say, maybe in bank services, or maybe in an application in the mobile to do transactions with money or maybe with security issues. And I think it's interesting that someone, Alibaba or the partners, show the people the use case, but with really samples, really samples maybe to that exists maybe in China, for example. Show the people in China, the people pay like this,
right?
And use this method. I don't know, but with really samples.
Luis.
Yes, thinking about the roadblocks, I can think in three main groups. The first one should be the training for people.
Training.
Yes, we need more data scientists or people experienced with the application intelligence in all Latin America, also in Mexico. The second one is the data computing. I think we need the infrastructure like we saw with Alibaba Cloud.
Sure.
Yes, in order not to have the local power of the data centers, to have the cloud that supports those kind of service, it could be very important. And the third thing is the cost. I think that in order this kind of technology will be adopted in all Latin America, it will be easier to decrease the cost of those kind of projects, because right now those kind of projects are very expensive.
Very,
no?
yeah.
And companies that maybe can have the needs for the adoption of this kind of technology can do that because those projects are expensive. So again, the training, the data computing, and low prices for this kind of project. Okay.
Thank you. Victor?
I think the ISP providers, internet service providers in Mexico, have a hard work.
Hard work.
I need, for these applications, need more networks, more flavors.
Yeah.
In Mexico and Latin America, maybe 1, 2, 3 providers for internet. And in this moment in Mexico, my experience is the Total Play begin, and then Total Play is in the second place.
Yep.
But need more players to do the same job for the arrive at the final client, arrive at the Latin America.
Right.
Is very specifically in the you across the river, across the mountain to arrive to the pueblito in Mexico. No?
Right.
I need the increase this platform communication for major most efficiently used for the AEA applications.
Got it. Got it.
Let me take it one step back.
Sure.
Because all these are solutions or building blocks that you can have it if you already made people trust you.
Right.
Okay, but I think everybody in Mexico is talking, and Latin America are talking about artificial intelligence. The question is how to implement it.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're gonna call to the person that they trust more to implement it.
Yep.
Okay, and hopefully that person knows what he's talking about.
Right.
Because if not, they're gonna be disappointed.
Right.
And the thing is that we have to work a lot in developing trust. Not only the people that use it, but also the companies that pay for that technology, and the governments. So I think the first thing that we need to do is to position Alibaba as a trusted advisor of technology over there.
Right.
Because we know you from what we can see in China, what Jack Ma did, or some specific things. We know that you are the Asian AWS, but we need to trust you.
Right.
So we have to position Alibaba in Latin America in order for them to trust you guys. And I think this trust is going to be developed around projects that you already have. Now that I'm coming back to Mexico, I'm more convinced to be here and to be with you guys because you showed me a lot of things.
Right.
I was amazed of what you're doing here. But
Thank you.
we need to tell them in Latin America.
So essentially what I'm hearing is this, although we're in technology, the challenges might not be technical. The challenges
I think
is
so.
people, process, governance, and everything, culture related to it.
Infrastructures too.
Sorry?
Infrastructure too.
Infrastructure, yes. Actually, infrastructure is one thing. I think we can still spend a little bit more time on it. One of the biggest concerns really is how green the data centers and technologies are. Training a model is requiring a lot of energy, like electricity, energy, and all those. Those are very expensive. Do you think, you mentioned it, the infrastructure, how sustainable and how reliable is the infrastructure grid to allow this type of booming in artificial intelligence?
I think having something in mind to complement the comments is that Alibaba has an advantage because it's a more open company and has a lot of connections. You have a lot of cloud-native solutions, and that make it more accessible. The next thing that I think is going to happen is that countries are going to be every time more aware about data sensibility.
Yes.
So by now, there are a lot of gaps and a lot of flexibility in order to make use of cloud computing. But I think in a short time, every country is going to ask for more and harder policies in order to fulfill requirements about how not to lose data, how ensure the security of the data, the accessibility to the data. So I think for a concept that is going to be like the edge computing, and also the regional computing, what I mean is that the data centers that are going to be on Latin America are going to be important. They will be a key factor in order for you to success on data processing and software in general.